On the evening of August 15th at the Jinyue Lafang store in Minhang district, Shanghai, a tragic accident occurred at a branch of Jasmine Milk White, a popular internet-famous milk tea chains. The store's decorative ceiling collapsed, killing one employee. At the time, the store was running a 3-day buy one, get one free promotion, which ended in tragedy on the very first day. On August 16th, according to an official statement posted on the Weibo account of Zhangchuan Road Subdistrict Office, Minhang District, Jiangchuan Shouqing, the incident happened around 8:15 p.m. at a mall milk tea shop on 900 King Road. A decorative ceiling fell, injuring an employee who was rushed to the hospital but unfortunately died. The shop has suspended operations, and the cause of the incident is under investigation. According to mainland media reports on August 16th, a spokesperson for Jasmine Milk White told Southern Metropolis Daily that the company is fully cooperating with the investigation. At the time of the accident, the store was in the middle of its promotional campaign, August 15th, 17. After the incident, the shop became unavailable for online ordering via the brand system, and the store's group catering contact number was disconnected. A Shanghai resident using the pseudonym Chin Fu told Epoch Times yesterday, 16th afternoon, "I passed by Jinyue Lafang. The store involved was already boarded up with no explanation posted. Some people nearby were discussing it. One person said it was lucky the collapse happened in the employee work area, otherwise the consequences would have been far worse. Others suspected shoddy construction, saying it might have been caused by a cement and sand layer falling off. Someone with renovation knowledge said perhaps the cement grade used by the developer was below standard, or the sand was impure, causing the collapse. People here are used to shoddy Tofu-Dreg construction," Chen added. "In my own house, after many years, the bathroom tiles had cracked and dust would easily collect in the gaps. So last year I had the bathroom renovated. But soon after, a large section of the wall collapsed with a loud noise. My family happened to be in the living room eating at the time. If someone had been home alone, they would have been terrified. The renovation team had to redo the work, and now it's fine." Franchise information shows that Jasmine Milk White headquarters provides unified interior design with renovation periods typically lasting 26-35 days. Reports note that the accident occurred not long after the store had completed renovations and during its grand opening promotion. This tragedy once again exposes the darker reality beneath China's glittering consumer economy. Behind the polished facades and glossy marketing of internet-famous chains lies a systemic rot in construction standards, one fostered by the Communist Party's decades-long obsession with speed and profit over safety. From collapsing schools during earthquakes to crumbling bridges and now ceilings falling in trendy milk tea shops, the same pattern repeats. Shoddy Tofu-Dreg projects approved under a corrupt system that values GDP statistics and political performance over human lives. Until accountability reaches those at the top, such avoidable disasters will continue to claim innocent lives. Beijing under siege. Before the CCP's September 3rd military parade, everywhere in China there are police and checkpoints investigating road intersections in every city. If you visit Beijing now, you will find it almost impossible to move freely. The atmosphere is filled with tension and disbelief. Around Tiananmen Square, the situation is like a city under martial law. In the lead-up to the CCP's so-called September 3rd military parade, Beijing has been locked down repeatedly. Roads around Tiananmen have been sealed off, businesses forced to close, and large-scale internet blackouts imposed. Authorities conduct strict identity checks. Taxi companies have even issued gag orders banning drivers from discussing political topics with passengers. Public frustration is boiling. On August 13th, the authorities issued a notice from August 15th to 17. Temporary traffic controls would be implemented around Tiananmen's Jixiangguan Road, and from August 20th to 23, Tiananmen Square would be completely closed. Public transport has become a nightmare. Subway stations are shut, bus lines cut off, and movement restricted. Ordinary people cannot attend the parade, only state media reporters and selected student performers are allowed. On the day of the parade, Chang'an Avenue and surrounding areas will be under complete lockdown, with buses and subways skipping stations. Beijing is now under extreme security. On Chang'an Avenue, in front of Tiananmen, soldiers, armed police, and plainclothes officers stand guard every 3 steps, a post every 5 steps, a checkpoint. Every overpass, every underpass, every intersection is manned. Videos online show entire residential areas with guards stationed every 10 to 20 meters. On August 17th at dawn, massive convoys of military vehicles were seen rehearsing in Beijing's Dongcheng district. On August 16th, during rush hour, Chang'an Avenue was sealed off completely empty like a ghost city. As early as July, videos circulated online showing tanks disguised under blue canopies being transported down Chang'an Avenue at night, completely covered, so even the wheels were hidden. Reports also claimed that after the Beidaihe meeting ended, large numbers of tanks and armored vehicles entered Beijing. During the first rehearsal on August 9th, shops around Tiananmen were forced to shut. Armed police and soldiers patrolled en masse. Many residents were unable to return home due to road closures and had to wait outside until the lockdown was lifted. On August 12th, Beijing Unicom experienced massive network disruptions with many unable to access websites or apps. The next day, Beijing Mobile also collapsed. Users couldn't even make phone calls. Critics say this reveals how deeply the CCP distrusts its people. Taxi drivers told reporters that their companies had issued gag orders, strictly prohibiting political conversations with passengers, especially about CCP leaders or international affairs. Commentator Chen Pokong described the atmosphere inside Beijing as eerie, tense, and dangerous. Many believe something big may happen even before the parade. Meanwhile, mysterious celestial phenomena stirred unease. On August 16th, a giant solar halo appeared over Beijing's suburbs, regarded in Chinese tradition as a bad omen, often linked to rebellion or dynastic change. On August 18th, a video showed a rare alignment of 7 stars over Beijing, also considered a sign of impending turmoil. In Hubei on August 16th, both the sun and the moon appeared in the sky at the same time, another unsettling phenomenon. Public health crisis. Chikungunya on outbreak. At the same time, the chikungunya virus outbreak spread rapidly across Guangdong, Zhejiang, Fujian, Hainan, Yunnan, and Guangxi. The CCP's National Disease Control Bureau designated these 6 provinces as high-risk zones, but many believe the situation is far worse, as the CCP routinely conceals the truth. In Guangdong, anti-mosquito campaigns have been extreme and absurd. Videos show thick smoke spraying through neighborhoods. Residents compared it to scenes from a war movie. In some areas, after heavy pesticide fogging, sudden rain followed, leaving residents worried about the chemicals' harm to health. By August 14th, cases had doubled from 4,000 to 8,000 within just 3 weeks, with infections spreading into central provinces such as Henan and even Wuhan. Authorities responded with draconian measures, spraying pesticides everywhere, sealing green spaces, even covering vegetable plots in cement. In Foshan, sewers were sealed with wire mesh to block mosquitoes, but this led to catastrophic urban flooding after heavy rains. Residents accused the government of turning natural disasters into man-made tragedies. Videos from Shanghai show residents lining up at night for mandatory blood tests. Across Guangxi and Nanning, new clusters of infection appeared. Shandong was listed as a secondary risk zone, raising fears the virus could spread nationwide. The mosquito-borne epidemic has already pushed over 8,000 cases, and the risk continues to grow. Fear, control, and distrust across China. The CCP's response has been excessive, chaotic, and harmful. Over-policing in Beijing. Censorship, online militarization of the capital, combined with overreaction to the chikungunya outbreak, reveal a regime more afraid of its people than of disasters themselves. Instead of protecting citizens, the CCP prioritizes image, propaganda, and control. Ordinary people endure lockdowns, blackouts, floods, and toxic chemicals, suffering in silence, while truth is buried under lies. Pork prices crash, people suffer. The CCP's fake safety net exposed. In recent weeks, pork prices in China have collapsed. In Hangzhou, a pound of pork belly has fallen by 7 yuan, and in some places, special offer meat sells for under 8 yuan. State-run media hails this as hot sales, but behind these numbers are the cries of millions of farmers. Day after day, they toil in filth and sweat, raising pigs only to end up bankrupt, their lives shattered by endless losses. Beijing pretends to intervene through national reserves, but in reality, it is nothing more than a smokescreen. Farmers are crushed under debt, while those with political privilege live comfortably. The National Bureau of Statistics and Price Monitoring Centers churn out sterile reports on supply and demand cycles. Yet nowhere do they admit the obvious truth: farmers are starving to death in their own pigsties. Consumers may celebrate cheaper meat in supermarkets, but the real price is paid in the blood and tears of millions of rural families. They borrow money, sacrifice their health, and raise herds of pigs under grueling conditions, only to be crushed by slaughterhouses and traders who force prices down to the bone. Each pig sold now means a loss of over 160 yuan. This is not ordinary commerce, but a machine designed to destroy livelihoods fueled by the CCP's twisted policies. On the surface, officials speak of stabilizing prices and strategic reserves to ensure food security. In truth, the entire system exists only to serve the elites, those who sit in air-conditioned offices with fat salaries. Meanwhile, ordinary people, especially poor farmers, collapse under mountains of debt. Every cheap pound of pork on a dinner table today means another farming family pushed to ruin, another father or mother swallowing tears as their children go hungry. The government stays silent, the press is censored, and suffering is buried. Behind the slogans of modern agricultural development lies a brutal reality. This country does not protect its farmers. It is deliberately driving them to despair. The core contradiction behind China's social security crisis. Why has the CCP's forced social security policy triggered such massive public backlash? At its heart, it is a question of fairness. Young migrant workers from rural areas are required to contribute hundreds or even thousands of yuan each month, while their own parents back in the countryside survive on pensions as low as 200 yuan a month. Meanwhile, government officials and privileged state employees enjoy pensions of 6,000 yuan or more. This staggering inequality breeds resentment and exposes the structural injustice of China's social security system. For decades, China's farmers have been the backbone of national development, yet their sacrifices have been systematically erased. From the 1950s through the reform era, the state imposed scissors price policies overvaluing industrial goods while undervaluing agricultural products. By one economist's calculation, between 1952 and 1999, Chinese farmers effectively subsidized industrialization by more than 1.26 trillion yuan. Later, migrant workers filled China's cities, building skyscrapers, bridges, railways, airports, and mega projects like the Three Gorges Dam. Yet they received low pay, endured long hours, and had no share in the urban dividend. They remained outsiders in the cities they built, denied fair wages, denied equal benefits, and now denied even dignity in retirement. China's pension system is based on pay-as-you-go, today's young workers fund, today's retirees. But with the country's aging population, falling birth rates, and shrinking workforce, this system is collapsing. Young people know their contributions are not funding their own future, but someone else's present. And when they grow old, there may be no one left to support them. This is why resistance is growing. Surveys show that one in 5 Chinese under 30 refuses to pay into the pension scheme at all. Among informal and gig workers, participation rates are below 15%. They see the truth: paying into a broken system is throwing money into a black hole. Take a worker earning 5,000 yuan a month. Nearly 1,000 yuan is deducted for Social Security money that could otherwise be used for rent, food, or simply survival. With unemployment soaring, wages falling, and housing unaffordable. Many young people ask, why should we fund a future we may never live to enjoy, especially when the retirement age keeps rising and the benefits they may one day receive are uncertain, minimal, and likely eroded by inflation. Meanwhile, CCP officials boast of China's GDP, but ordinary citizens see no improvement in their lives. What good is being the world's second largest economy if hundreds of millions of people retire on less than $40 a month? In March, even establishment experts began to demand change, calling for rural pensions to rise to 401,000 yuan per month. They argue this would reduce inequality, stimulate consumption, and close the gap between peasants and urban elites. But so far, Beijing has responded not with reform, but with coercion. In September 2025, new rules made paying Social Security mandatory, no exceptions. Workers and companies can no longer opt out. But this only pushes companies to cut wages, fire workers, or shut down entirely. Already, China faces over 42 million people who have stopped paying into the system, with nearly one-third of young workers deliberately opting out. This silent boycott is a direct act of defiance against a state that demands sacrifice without fairness. The truth is clear, China's pension system is unsustainable. The CCP has built a model where migrant workers labor their entire lives for crumbs, while state elites retire in comfort. Now with demographics collapsing, this fragile system is cracking. Instead of solving the problem by raising wages, reducing inequality, or reforming the system, the regime has chosen the authoritarian path: force, threats, and punishment. Workers who stop paying may lose access to housing, schooling for their children, or even basic health care. The real measure of a nation is not how many towers it builds, but whether its people can live and retire with dignity. On this measure, the CCP has already failed. P has already failed. P has already...